Welcome back, Festival Tales fam. Happy Monday, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Before we get into today's episode, we want you guys to rate, review, subscribe, all that jazz as we end 2020. We are so happy to have you guys a part of our little family and everything. We got our first review. Thank you, Emma Capotis, for submitting
Shout
our first
out.
review to Apple Podcasts. So everyone else follow suit, please. It really does help us out, but we've really been enjoying this and we hope you guys have been enjoying it as well. I think that's it. Without further ado, Babs has a little story for you guys today, and it's really great how this story kind of came to be, the submission and everything. So, what do we got today, Babs?
Yeah, so for today's story, we're actually going to throw it back to episode 6, Shamba Vibes. In that episode, we had talked about Shambala and the festival vibes that go along with that festival. And we had some questions that we weren't too sure of because I don't think either of us have been. And so this person wrote in, said they found out about us, said they love the podcast, said they listened to that episode specifically, and that episode was like what made them want to write in. So here we go. Here's their story. And they're talking about Shambhala the whole time. So she says, my name is Jackie. I'm a 27-year-old raver from Canada, Saskatchewan region. We're going to talk about Saskatchewan. Anyways,
Yeah.
I have been going to festivals since 2010. I've done lots of other Canadian fests, her favorite being Base Coast, and she said she's done a few other U.S. festivals such as E-Force and Oregon Eclipse. One thing she says, one thing I really love about your podcast is noticing the small differences between Canada's festival culture and America's festival culture. The one festival I have gone to the most is Shambala. So I knew when I heard the Shamba Vibes episode that I had to write in, and I have so many stories to tell you guys. To answer your questions about why Excision playing at Shams is such a huge deal, it is because that's basically his home festival. The first time I saw him there in 2011, he was still playing with his old label Rotten Records. He played the Village stage for 10 years before he took a few years off for when Lost Lands and Base Canyon were coming to fruition. So his return was a big deal. You can peep the majority of his sets on SoundCloud. If anything, the intros to those sets are what made them insane. I have never seen the Village as packed as I have during most of his sets. Everyone's throwing their X ups at all times. She says it felt a little cult-like. If you can imagine that, which I can because of Lost Lands and such.
Yeah.
So, she goes on to tell us about the stage. She goes, the stage is in the middle of the forest with walkways that go around the outside, kind of the same setup size of the observatory in the forest, if those of you who know that. I included a video my friend took during Excision's 2015 set. You can see some guy climb a wobbly tree at the back of the Village and get hauled away by security from the walkway above. The stages at Shams are all very immersive with permanent structures, truly one of the reasons that it sets itself apart from other festivals. This year would have been my 23rd year, so you can imagine how much work has gone into the grounds over the years. Yes, there's definitely a Shamba vibe. Or Shamba vibe, sorry. I keep butchering that. I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe it's the environment, it's so unique and beautiful, or because there is no alcohol allowed or sold at Shambala.
Huh.
I really like, she goes on to say, I really like that alcohol. Wait, what is it? I always butcher something. See, you're following along. Thank you. I really feel like alcohol brings out a different vibe. People get messy with booze. I totally agree. But Shams is easily the cleanest large-scale festival I've ever attended. You don't see solo cups/cans everywhere, and people generally abide by the leave no trace state of mind. I've lost my phone twice at Shams, and both times it was waiting for me at Lost and Found. I've forgotten my hood, pashmina, and other random things in places, and 9 out of 10 times it's in the same place I left it. The vibe is definitely more intimate. 11,000 tickets sold plus 4,000 vendors and staff members. So Shambhala is also at the forefront for harm reduction and drug awareness. They test your supply for free and post a board with descriptions of anything dangerous they find. They have women's safe space, a sanctuary filled with hammocks, and a shady space for those who might be feeling overwhelmed but don't necessarily seek medical attention to just hang out. The 6 stages, each with their own crews and directors that have their own taste and vibe, which means every stage is at the forefront of discovering new artists and sounds. You can always find something new at Shams, however you say it. I keep messing it up. Am I saying, which one is it? Before I continue,
Shams.
I thought it was Shams too, but I thought that was wrong. So, anyways, no matter what time of day, Shams is one of those crazy fests that has the music basically playing 24 hours a day. Okay. Whoa. My computer just did that. Hold on. In the middle of us talking. Sorry about that. Shams is actually the reason I know one of my best friends in this whole world. Before I went to Forest 2015, I was trying to find other Canadians who were going to Forest and maybe meet up with them on family Facebook group. The family equals Shams fam. But instead, I found an American who was looking for Canadian friends to meet up with at Shams. God. And he and his girlfriend happened to live in Chicago, which is where the friends I were going to Forest with lived. So it was perfect. So that summer, we showed each other around our home fests, and he has been coming to Shambala every year since. She goes on to say she feels like she could talk about Shams and festivals forever, and I don't want to get too rambly, but if you guys ever want to hear some more stories, let me know, which we absolutely do. She says, over the years, I waited in line for a day and a half to use, almost got evacuated because of forest fires. The rivers were dried green this year before my first St. Patrick's Day in Chicago. That's always cool. The pigs were let out one year and were freaking havoc in the campgrounds. That's interesting. I want to hear that one. I've met my hoop idol randomly. I was volunteering one year and had to set up camp for 40 people with one other person. Interesting.
Wow.
One year we got our car impounded on the way there. Oh gosh. There's a lot, she says. But in the meantime, here's some of my favorite Shams content to feed your curiosity. So she sent us a bunch of links about Shambala. Fortunately, we can't play all them on the podcast, but maybe we'll post them up on the Instagram or something, or on the Twitter. But anyway, she says if you guys are definitely considering making a trip to Shambala, it's 100% worth it. That is the story. There's a lot to unpack there.
A lot to unpack on.
But let's dive into it. What you got first?
So she, well, I want to go. So we're going.
I do want to go as well. It'd be my first festival out of the country, so I am definitely into that. Into traveling a little bit.
I've been wanting to go to Shambhala, I think since last year when I first heard about it, because a lot of people that go to Forest talk about it. But it definitely sounds real. I'm very interested about the whole like no alcohol being there.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the first thing that caught my attention, was that like the no alcohol being sold or brought in is interesting, because I feel like that is something, especially with like city festivals, that gets very annoying. Is like you have like all these different groups of people mixing. You've got people tripping, people on Molly, people drinking, and it's like this. Mm-hmm. This just melting pot of different people, and like everyone's kind of on a different vibe, and like some people like get along, groups will get along, but like I feel like people that are drunk, like no one gets along with people that are drunk.
Yeah, personally I don't drink at festivals just because it's so expensive and it's just like a lot to keep up with. But so it's like very interesting to like hear that that's like everyone, like no one's drinking.
Yeah, no one's drinking. I also like that which I kind of knew that beforehand, is that they check people's stuff and they allow like free testing and stuff like that, which I mean, I think that's going to happen eventually here in the US. And I know it's happened some in some European countries as well, but I think it'll happen eventually, because it's like that. It's like you can try to prevent it as much as possible to happen, but like people are still going to do the things they want to do. And it's like, okay, if we can just let them do it and do it the safest way possible, maybe that's better than like arresting people for it.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that too, because I feel like here a lot of things could be prevented if we had something like that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure like the only thing you really have to worry about is people like thinking they can handle even if it's clean, they just think they can handle a lot more than they take, and that's about it. And then
Yeah.
that's a kind of an easy fix because it seems like it's very open and the vibes are good there to the point where like people don't even really worry. Like if they did have some issue, they could just go to medical and there wouldn't be a problem. I guess I don't know if like I get the sense here in the US at least that there's a lot of people like don't want to go to the medical tent when they're feeling like shitty or
Well, yeah,
something's
because I
happened.
think there's like it's different per festival, but sometimes there's like this notion that if you go to medical that you're gonna get in trouble. Which like some festivals are like, no, if something's wrong, like we just want you to be safe and get taken care of. But we also need to know what you're on from a medical standpoint because
Well,
that
that
can help them.
yeah.
And then there's also some other festivals where um that you probably might get in trouble. So there's just like it's not clear.
Well, I know you can't like legally wise, you can't get in trouble with like paramedics. Like they can't technically say anything to hold like they can't hold it against you. They can't take you to
Yeah.
like jail or anything like that. Like that's something like you should absolutely tell medical what you've taken and stuff like that because
Yeah.
they're there to help. Like that, no matter what festival you're at, those people are actually there to help. Then I don't know, festival wise, I don't know how the festivals handle it separately from there, but like the actual like paramedics and medics that are there, they can't hold it against you or like anything like that. Like they have to
Yeah.
be there to help. Like that's the law in the states.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know if we mentioned this in the Shamba episode. Did we say that Excision was from Canada? Because like when she said it's a huge deal because that's basically his home festival, I'm like, duh, he's from
yeah,
Canada. Like, did we just miss that?
we might have definitely not said that. I definitely I don't think we did. But no, I knew he was Canadian, but I just didn't know that was like
I didn't put two and two together.
yeah, I just didn't put it like that was like why it was so important that he was there, which it makes sense. Like,
yeah, we're like, duh.
But yeah, I just thought there was like I just figured there was another reason. Like that's where he kind of made like his first like debut as a headliner, maybe. Like that's why it was so big for him. It's like
Yeah.
I didn't put it together. It was that simple. Like yeah, okay, so he's from there, and it's
from Canada.
right. Right, because my also thought was like, okay, yeah, he's from Canada, but there's other Canadian festivals. Like she mentioned, Base Coast, and I know
Yeah.
now there's Ever After. So in my head, I wasn't thinking like, oh, it's big because he's from Canada. I'm thinking like he headlined here first, or like he got big from there first. Like I mean, truth be told, I heard one of his Shambala mixes like prior to really knowing him or even seeing him live. Like I saw one of like I think like 2016 or 17 like mix on SoundCloud. I heard like a while back. I was like, what is this? Dubstep. Now I love them.
I've seen videos of I think of the Village stage. I have to go look and see what she sent to us. Oh, she put it in Google Drive.
Oh, even better. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the stages from anything really, to be honest. I've seen forest pictures, so I'm just kind of picturing forest, but Canada style.
Stage. I'm curious. I think I've seen videos of what the Village looks like. Oh no, I'm thinking of a different stage. There's another stage that kind of looks like a temple, and maybe someone will correct me on what that stage name is eventually. But she is right. It's definitely the Village stage is definitely similar to the observatory at Electric Forest. Looking at these photos, yeah, very similar. I think this is the other stage I was looking at that I was thinking of. Anyway, what else was there with this one?
I like how they curate each stage. That was something that she mentioned in a separate paragraph. And that was like, there's 6 stages. They have their own crews. They have their own directors, which I think, I mean, I don't know how every festival works, but like, that's the first time I've heard of anyone pointing out that like they have their own directors who are in charge of their crew at each festival. I mean, at each stage in that festival. So you're getting like this mix of different music, which I mean, you get a mix at every festival, but you're getting like a mix specifically of like these people are curating to these type of sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. It's probably similar with other festivals. We just never really know behind the scenes stuff of it.
No, I wish we should. If anyone does listen that has like behind the scenes info on any set festivals, submit that because I'd love to read stuff about that and hear some more behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny how she mentioned the cult like feel because like you kind of get that vibe when everyone's got their X up or like or even with other artists when everyone gets like super into them and they're like holding up their symbol and stuff like that. You're like, yeah, we could like all be one tribe or something like that together.
I get that with like Zedstead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of, putting the
Throw
Z's
your
up and
Z's
everything.
up.
Yeah. What else was there? Also, like, because we've talked about like stealing and
Oh
such
yeah.
before, so that seems like a very good um festival for me, considering how much stuff I've gotten taken away in the past or left behind in the past. So that might be my
Uh,
my festival where I don't have to worry about anything. Um, wouldn't need a fanny pack or anything. I just go
yeah.
and be not worry about it. And I like the fact that they do no trash and stuff like that. I could see like Excision's kind of incorporated that with Lost Lands. I know at the end of every night at Lost Lands, they put like a like if you collect like a they give out free trash bags and
Oh.
people go around picking up the trash. And if you collect like a certain amount in the bag, you get like a free little gift. I don't know what the gift is, but
Oh. Yeah, at Forest they do prize cart and they make it seem like it's this like really cool thing. There's like a song that goes prize cart and it's at the end of like each day or yeah, it's at the end of each day at every stage. And then this little cart comes out and people are just handing out trash bags. I remember when I first saw that, I was like so confused. I was like, "Oh, they're handing out prizes?" And then they just hand me a trash bag and I'm like, "Oh,
like go clean
I
up. You're like,
see."
okay. Do you get something if you clean up and you give them a bag of trash?
I don't think so. I think it's just the whole like leave no trace, like pick up after yourself kind of thing. And everyone just kind of does it because it's like the end of the night. We're
Yeah.
all still kind of like buzzing from the day and we're just like, all right, like whatever. And everyone's kind of doing it. So you feel like a jerk not doing it, you know? Like you feel like
It's
you're the
that
bad
crowd
one that just
mentality. You
like,
got to get you pressure you into it.
yeah. So then like
Yeah, I mean,
everyone just kind of does it and cleans
I mean,
up.
honestly,
But
that's the way to do it. Like in a perfect place, like we shouldn't have to like incentivize people like to go
yeah.
like to clean up after themselves and make sure the grounds look nice, and especially
yeah.
because like it's out in the forest, out in the middle of nowhere. Like it is something you want to keep nice, and that way for the next year, everything grows back nicer. The whole grounds look good, and throughout the year, I'm sure it's used for other things like Lost Lands. Not to compare the two, but this is just the only one that I've been to that's camping, so that's all I
Yeah.
got. But like they do the same thing where like they there's stuff that happens like throughout the year at the
Yeah.
at the
Same with
valley and stuff
Forest.
like that.
Yeah, Forest. You can go to Sherwood Forest like during the year. But that's one of the reasons why Forest went from 2 weekends to 1 weekend is because to
Mm-hmm.
like preserve the forest and stuff and preserve the grounds because we were getting a little too messy. Um, but this girl seems like a real veteran. Did you see that it was her 23rd time? This
Yeah,
year
she
would have been her
mentioned that.
23rd year.
That's crazy. That's awesome though. I strive to be that 23 years in, just
Yeah.
vibing in the back, hammock out, enjoying myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I could see it.
awesome.
I strive. I'm all for it. I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast, Jackie.
Yeah, thanks for submitting. Also, it's the Farmily. By the way, Babs. You
The
said
what?
family.
I'm just horrible at reading. I'm so sorry. Like I feel like I even like I literally clicked something and like the whole thing I was reading just went away and I was like, all right, cool. Like in the middle of the reading. I feel
Yeah,
like that's
so
why
I think
everyone in the Google form picks you to read because they listen to these podcasts and I just butcher their story and they're like,
oh.
we would rather have Babs comment on it after and not have to read it.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I recognize that Shambala they also called that like venue the farm, kind of how we call like forest the forest.
Hmm.
And Bonnaroo, I think they also call it the farm. Um, so I think that's where that comes from. And then she said the grounds are on a family-owned cattle farm. I really want to know about the pigs that
Yeah,
were let
that's a
out.
story I for sure want to hear. But yeah, let's see if we can let's like okay, she's mentioned like 6, 7 stories. Let's see if we can narrow these down. So we're gonna go pigs number one. Is that what we're feeling?
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear that pig story. I'm also very intrigued in the forest fires. Sounds like a lot of destruction. I'm intrigued. Not in a bad like like in a guy way. Not like I'm not like happy that happened, but I'm curious.
I think the 40 people would be, and I think a lot of people would like to know, especially if you have bigger like Ray fams and stuff.
I would like to know about the 40 people as well. Yeah, because like, is that 40 people just that you like randomly got together, or is it like 3 different groups coming together? Like, how does that work? Because I could think I could maybe get 40 people to go to a festival, but it'd be a lot of different like groups that I'm
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
and I don't know how that would work.
Car getting impounded, like on the way to a camping festival, I imagine is like a nightmare.
That sounds like it would give me a lot of stress.
Same.
Like I don't need it. And
But yeah,
then
this just goes to show you guys you can submit multiple stories. So if you got multiple ones, feel free to send them in. If you've already submitted, we could always use some more.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Share that link. We need more stories. I know you guys want to hear them too. We got so much to talk about. There's so many festivals out there, so it's like where
lots to unpack.
Where are these stories?
I just realized she said she's 27 and Shambala would have been her 23rd this year.
I think
so
she
Shambala
meant
all ages.
I think she meant 23rd year of Shambhala. I don't know.
Yeah, so then she's been going since she was 4.
No, I meant like 23rd year of the festival. Like,
oh,
maybe
I thought she said would have been mine. Okay.
Let me look.
It's Monday.
It's we're a little.
I was like, wait.
How long has Shambhala been around? It comes up right away. 1998. Yeah, so this would have been the 23rd year.
Oh, okay.
4 days and 3 nights. Woo!
And 11,000 people, that's definitely like a lot more intimate.
That's like a very small crowd in my opinion.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like I'd rather.
No, I would love that.
I'd rather us have smaller crowds because then it is like everyone's kind of in it together. You're all like, you're not like smushed in, like getting aggravated at people like bumping into you constantly.
Yeah, at that point, you definitely like can run into the same people, you know, and like meet people a lot better that way. I feel like because then you start seeing same faces and stuff.
I mean, what's crazy though is like even though 11,000 like is small compared to most festivals, like that's still a lot of people.
Still
like
a lot of people.
It still would be like us. Like if you were standing on top of a hill and you saw 11,000 people below you, you'd be like, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then we're just so used to festivals that are like 40, 50,000, or EDC Las Vegas where it's like 100,000+ every night. Like it's just madness.
Yeah.
Got anything else for this one?
Let's see. Babs wanted me to talk about it, but I did a project on Saskatchewan in middle school.
I don't know why that's so funny. It's just so random. Like, why did you do a project on Saskatchewan? Like,
I don't remember. Like, I think it was social studies class or something, and we were dividing up.
Like,
pick
a province. They were like, pick a province.
Yeah, and I just got Saskatchewan.
Well, tell us about it. Where is it located? What's the capital of the province?
School. I don't remember. I remember drawing out like the province. Like I have that kind of memory, but otherwise I really don't remember a whole lot.
Oh, it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, is Alberta in Saskatchewan?
Alberta's next to Saskatchewan.
Oh. I need to pull. Oh, Alberta's another province.
It's right above Montana and North Dakota.
I don't really remember a whole lot, but I just remember drawing that out, and I was like, why did we have to learn about this? Like, this little girl from Arizona just needed to know about Saskatchewan.
Gotta love our education system here. It's just great.
And then the other thing on this, Oregon, she mentioned that she had been to Oregon Eclipse. If other people are curious about this, since Babs didn't know about this, there is an eclipse that could be best seen in Oregon. I think it was in 2017, 2018. I had a friend go, and it's like a week-long festival. If anyone has actually been to it and wants to submit like their stories from that would be dope. But it was basically like a whole festival gathering kind of thing. Think like similar to like lightning in a bottle type vibes, like transformational kind of festival.
This year was supposed to be in Patagonia.
Yeah, and then this year is supposed to be there because that's where the solar eclipse was, and the solar eclipse happened today. In Sagittarius for my fellow astrology people.
They said it's still happening this year.
If anyone's been to that would be cool to talk about.
They said the event is still happening this year on their website.
Oh, it is? Oh.
Whoa. Okay, so
Ooh.
basically the premise of this eclipse is when there's an eclipse, solar eclipse, right? They wherever the best place to view it is,
People gather.
they gather for this festival
Yeah.
during the
And there's like
eclipse.
music, arts.
So yeah, you were right. 2017. I'm looking at the website right now. 2017 was in Oregon, and this year's Patagonia apparently. And I'm trying to see what other years there are, but I don't see any others. Well, it just moves around. That's why I don't see any
Yeah.
others right now. That's crazy though. That's so cool.
Yeah. I definitely would want to do something like that. I think that'd be so cool.
I feel like the energy there would be unmatched. You've got this
Honestly.
like astrology thing going, and you've got good music. You've got like good vibes. It's just yeah, very spiritual.
I think it'd be really cool.
If someone has ever seen any entities there, write in. Want to hear that story? Any
Please
spiritual
do.
entities.
But I think that's it for this one.
I think that's all we got.
Sweet.
All
Thank you
right.
guys for tuning in. Submit your stories. Rate, review,
Yeah,
subscribe.
all that stuff. We're so dead today. I'm sorry. We're so dead today on this Monday. We will bring the energy next week. We apologize. Peace.
Bye.